Last week while I was reloading my online store, I noticed something. I had a couple of products still showing from the previous week that had sold out. They were grayed out so no one could order them, and my first instinct was to toggle them off so that the store looked clean. But then I had this light bulb moment. What if I kept them there, grayed out, on purpose? Today I want to talk about being sold out and how we can use it to our advantage. Let's get started. Hey there, this is Corinna Bench, and welcome to the My Digital Farmer podcast. In today's market, it's not enough to just grow your product. You've got to know how to sell it too. Welcome to the My Digital Farmer podcast, where we reveal online marketing strategies and tips to help farmers like you get better and more confident at marketing. Learn how to find more customers, increase your sales, and build a strong brand for your farm. Let's start the show. Well, welcome to episode 327 of the My Digital Farmer podcast. I'm your host, Corinna Bench, one of the farmers at Shared Legacy Farms out in Elmore, Ohio. I'm also the founder of mydigitalfarmer.com, which is all about trying to help other farmers like you get more confident in your marketing and sales strategy so that you can grow a profitable business. How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to the show. A big shout out to my regular listeners, my binge listeners. And if you're new to the podcast, welcome to you too. I'm glad you're here today. Make sure that you subscribe to the show. Go check out my first 10 episodes if you are new to the marketing space, because I designed them intentionally for the future so that future listeners would be able to go back and listen to those and kind of get an overview of the marketing fundamentals. And then all the other episodes after that kind of build on them. So I encourage you to do that. Another great place to learn the ropes is just to get onto my email list. And you can do that by going to mydigitalfarmer.com/subscribe. And when you do that, I'm going to send you an email like every 4 or 5 days for about 3 months. And I'm going to drip out the best of the best stuff to you that I've made over the last 3 to 4 years and walk you through the marketing jungle. So mydigitalfarmer.com/subscribe is the place to go for that. Today's podcast is sponsored by my friends at Local Line. If managing orders, customers, and inventory feels chaotic this season, it might be time for a better system. Local Line is the all-in-one sales platform built for farms and food hubs, whether you're selling direct to consumer or managing wholesale buyers or running a CSA. With tools like e-commerce, automated inventory management, subscriptions, barcode scanning, box builder, and POS, Local Line helps you simplify operations and grow your sales. In fact, farmers using Local Line increase their annual sales by 23% and boost their average order size by 9.5%. Switching is easy. No setup fees, no sales commissions, and your onboarding manager will migrate your storefront for free. No joke. So that you can get started without missing a beat. As a podcast listener, you'll also get one premium feature for free for a full year when you use my code MDF2025 at checkout. So head to mydigitalfarmer.com/local line, use that coupon code, and you'll be on your way. Start selling smarter this season with Local Line. And now back to the show. All right, before I get started today, I just need to warn you, there is a crop duster that is dive bombing the fields next to our farm right now, and it's going right over my house. So if you hear that in the recording, like a weird engine moaning sound, that's what's going on. Hopefully you won't hear it, but it's a little distracting every 20 seconds or so. Today's podcast topic is inspired by something that happened to me this past week. And as it was happening and I noticed it, I thought to myself, oh, this is a little gem of wisdom that I want to share on my podcast. It's a short and sweet tip, but I wanted to flesh it out for you because I think it has the potential to generate revenue for you and give you excitement and energy around selling. So here we go. This is what happened. I was reloading my online store My online store is a local line store with inventory. I usually do this on Saturday morning really early. Kurt gives me a checklist of the items that are going to be available, and I go in there and I pull out the products from the week before, and then I put in the new stuff for the week ahead, and then I set my fulfillment dates and I turn it back on. As I was doing this, I always kind of double check to make sure everything looks okay, and I noticed that I had missed a couple of products. I had missed removing them. So they were things that I had sold last week and I wasn't going to sell this week, and I needed to make sure I removed them. And I noticed that they were grayed out. Now, if they're grayed out, that means that they sold out the week before. And Local Line gives you the ability to show the product, continue to show the product even though it is sold out, or remove it from view once it is sold out. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, I should go remove those. And as I was, clicking the mouse, getting ready to do that, I paused because I had a sudden kind of view of the entire store. I had a quick glance of what the online store looked like to a customer. That was sort of the view I was looking at. And I just had an impression, a moment of like, wow, there's a lot of stuff in the store this week. That's awesome. It looks abundant. And there's those 2 products that are currently darkened out. And it looks like there's a lot of activity, so much activity in the store that those things already sold out. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to keep them there because I kind of like how it looks like I'm really selling stuff fast. And even though my first instinct was to toggle them off so that the store looked clean for the new week, I just had this light bulb moment of like, what if I keep them there on purpose? Because a sold out item sends a signal, doesn't it? And not just one signal. It can create urgency. It can create curiosity. It can create pride when you actually get the item that was sold out, anticipation in your customers, and it just suggests that there's movement in your brand, energy. And so today I want to unpack how you can turn the sold out sign into a powerful marketing tool. Whether you're selling through an online store, whether you're at a farmer's market, or through some other kind of marketing channel, how can we make this sold out sign work in our favor? Because our customers, when they see that, it tells a story without saying a word. They see a product that's grayed out or multiple products in your store grayed out, and it says, this product is so good, people are snatching it up before you can blink. And maybe we want people to think that. So today, I want to walk through some of the different things that happen, some of those different signals and messages that are being sent every time one of your products sells out. And I'm going to share a lot of different examples of this. And I want you to be thinking about the last time you tried to buy something. It doesn't have to be a farm product, anything that you wanted, and you came upon a sold out sign, either in an online store or whatever, where it was not available. And you felt frustrated. You felt like, oh man, I really wanted that. And I want you to just imagine that your customer feels that way too. And what are the implications for that? Okay. So when something is sold out, your customer's brain interprets it as proof that it is A, popular, right? There's major social proof. Other people must love this. B, desirable. If it's gone, it must be good. So now I want it even more. And C, it's worth waiting for. There's this anticipation that I'm going to make sure I get in on that next time, and you start looking for it. So the first thing I want to point out is that when something sells out, you create scarcity, and scarcity creates urgency. When something is sold out, the message is clear. Supply is limited, demand is high, and customers learn, if I want that thing, I have to act fast next time. And that's a lesson that I would love for more of my customers to learn. It kind of reminds me of parenting. when we have to discipline our children, and it's hard for me as a parent to see my son hurt and want something and wish he had done something differently. But I sometimes let him sit in the burn because I want him to learn from it. I don't want to rob him of that lesson, of that consequence is going to teach him a valuable lesson. I remember recently my older son got into a car crash. He totaled his brand new car that he had just purchased. And rather than swoop in and rescue him, I let him sit in that discomfort, in that pain of I just, spent all of my life savings on this car 4 or 5 months ago and now it's gone. And he had to figure out a way to solve that problem. And we did not replace it. We made him feel the pain of us having to take him to school again for a while, right? He couldn't get around and he had to save up money again and get motivated and go out and look for the car. And now he's going to have to pay additional insurance. We're going to make him feel all that. And that's because we want him to learn this lesson. And it's a little bit like that with our customers. It's okay to let them experience the sold out sign, to not be able to buy your product. It's okay for you to say, I'm sorry, I don't have any more right now, and not move heaven and earth to try and go scramble and find some and go out into the field and harvest an additional 5 bunches of chard or whatever. You can just say, I'm sorry, we're sold out, because we want to teach them, you know what, you've got to pre-order your vegetables in the online store if you want to make sure that you can pick them up at market. If that's the lesson you want to teach, then you have to let them mess up or experience the pain of not getting it. So urgency drives quicker purchasing decisions, less hesitation in the future. That's, I guess, what I want to point out. So if you're a vegetable grower and let's just say you have garlic scapes that sell out in the first 24 hours, then the next time you list them, your customers will learn, I need to go and buy those within the first 30 minutes to make sure I get them. You're going to train a new behavior that they shop in the online store as soon as they get your email, right? One of the things that you could do to encourage this particular experience to fire and happen for them, this urgency, scarcity play, is you could show sold out tags right in the product grid. So whatever your e-commerce platform is, make sure you select that option to show that it is sold out, that a little sign comes up and says sold out to the customers, or in the case of Local Line, it grays out. So there's a visible marker that declares this is no longer here. If you're a meat producer and your pork belly sells out every time you list it, or within the first hour of you being at market, you just tell people, you've got to join my email list to know when it's coming back, or you need to join my email list so that when I send out what's available next week, you can pre-order it and select the farmer's market as your pickup location. And then I'll basically have guaranteed pork belly for you because you're on my email list and now you've captured the email list. If you're at a farmer's market, you could keep an empty basket with a sign, we sold out by 10:15 a.m., right? So don't remove the basket. Keep the sign there for the carrots and just have one that says sold out at 10 o'clock. And now you've sent the signal to your customer. This is the time you need to show up by if you want to make sure that you get carrots. Or you could have a prompt, pre-order your carrots for next week, guaranteed product, if you pre-order or something like that. And now you encourage that behavior to happen more often. You just have to let them experience the sold out experience. If you run a CSA, you could share in your weekly email, our egg share sold out in, the first 30 minutes. So make sure that when you grab it for next year and you do your renewal, you need to show up and sign up on the first day, as soon as we open the doors within the first 30 minutes. And guess what? You will motivate people to take action right away. All right. So that's sort of the first tip, is that scarcity creates urgency. Number 2, when things are sold out, scarcity builds social proof. So seeing a sold out product signals to your customers that other people value that product enough to buy them quickly. This builds trust. It makes potential buyers feel less risky, I guess safer spending with you, especially if they're a first-time buyer. They see like, oh, wow, a bunch of people must love this. This must be a safe product. This must be the one everyone loves. There's less risk for me, so I'm going to go for it, and this is the one I'm going to get. So it must be worth having because other people are buying it. Showing this sold out product makes people think that your brand is in demand and that your products are very high quality. So examples of what this could look like, you post a photo of a popular item on Instagram and the caption says something like, "Gone in 2 hours, you all must love this soup," right? So just making people aware of what your popular products even are, that you have things selling out. You don't just have to have it in the store and wait for people to go to the store to discover it's sold out. You can be announcing to people that certain products are popular and are selling out as part of your social media content. You could use it in signage where you could say on the sign itself, "Bestseller, we sell out every Saturday by noon, make sure you grab it," something like that. Some kind of phrase that's on the sign. You could list your top sold out items in your member newsletter that you send out through email. And like I just shared earlier, historically, when we do our renewal campaign for our CSA, our egg share is the most popular thing we have. And I purposely limit it to 100. That's all I offer in the pre-sale. I usually end up being able to add like another 15 to 20 dozen by the time we start, but I don't always know that. So I just play it safe and I say, okay, we're just going to offer 100. And way more people than 100 want that share. And they all are trying to snag one of them. So I can now use that in my pre-launch marketing materials. I can announce that. I can tell people, hey, historically, for the last 4 years, our eggs have sold out between, in the first 5 to 15 minutes. So anybody out there who has an egg share, who doesn't want to lose it, is going to make a note to show up at 8 a.m. on the first day when we open our shares as a pre-sale and a renewal to sign up. And a lot of times it's not that behavior of showing up and buying on the first day is not motivated by, I need the vegetables. It's, I need the eggs, right? So we communicate that in our pre-launch messaging, and that social proof is the thing that's helping us drive repeat sales. Today's podcast is sponsored by Farm Marketing School. All right, farmer, let me ask you something. Is marketing your farm something you actually enjoy? Or does it feel like a constant struggle? If you are like most farmers that I talk to, you are wearing all the hats and marketing always seems to slip through the cracks. Can I get an amen? That's exactly why I created Farm Marketing School. It's an online membership designed to help farmers like you build a simple, repeatable marketing system that actually works. Inside, you'll get bite-sized, step-by-step projects that make marketing easier. Each month, you pick what to work on, like writing better sales emails or improving your website copy or setting up your online store, and I walk you through exactly how you should be doing it. And you're not doing this alone. Every month, we have a live Zoom meetup where you can ask me questions, meet other members of Farm Marketing School, get coaching, and hear what's working for other farmers. It's like having a farm marketing mentor in your back pocket. This isn't some long, overwhelming course. The projects are designed to be completed in under 30 days, so you're making steady progress without it taking over your life. So if you're ready to stop winging it and finally build a marketing system that brings in steady sales, come join Farm Marketing School today. Sign up for your first month and see what a difference it makes. Go to mydigitalfarmer.com/FMS to get started. And now back to the show. All right. The third thing that the sold out sign communicates is it sparks desire and curiosity. When we can't have something, we want it more. Have you ever noticed that? Sold out products will prompt your customer to wonder, what's so special about this? Why is everyone buying it? It must be really good. And then that curiosity fuels desire. They may end up researching it, or they ask about it, or they start following you more closely just to, catch the next batch and find out when the next one's ready. They want to be the first to jump on it. And it makes them want to have it even more because they can't get it right now. And that just drives them crazy. So how can we use that to our advantage, right? If they want it, they're going to watch for it. They're going to set alarms for it, for the first time it becomes available. So here's a few examples of how this might play out. You could post a behind the scenes video of you making that sold out item or harvesting more of it, hinting when it's coming back. And I've done this a lot, like in Instagram stories. I will be out in the fields videoing my crew harvesting something that I know is going to be very popular, that's going to sell out. And I'll just kind of warn them already, hey, this is coming in 3 days. These are going to drop in the store. Make sure you're on our email list so that you're one of the first people to know when the store opens and you can get one of these items, as we're not going to have a ton of them. You could, if you are at the farmer's market, you could keep up your display sign, continue to keep it visible after it sells out, and say, ask me about it for next week. Okay, so whether it's the carrots or it's the bacon, don't just remove the sign and remove the place in the case. Leave it blank so it's obvious that there was something there, and just put a little sign that says bacon or whatever and be like, hey, ask me about how you can get some for next week, or how you can get some guaranteed for next week. Maybe you post online, if you're a vegetable grower, hey, garlic skate pesto sold out. And now you're going to have customers DMing you, when is this coming back in and what's in it? And just asking questions about it. And you can follow up with them or ask them for their email address or whatever and give them additional coaching. So be thinking about, how can I leverage this reality that I'm creating desire, that I'm building curiosity. Don't rob your customers of that feeling, because it moves them closer into your brand and into that product. Okay, the next thing I want to point out is that when you are sold out, it creates excitement in the customer. It creates pride when they actually end up finally getting it. And that is a powerful emotion that we want our customers to experience. So when a customer finally lands a product that's been sold out, they feel victorious. Have you ever experienced that? You feel like you just landed a big fish. And that is an emotional high, my friends. Anytime you can create an emotional high in a customer, that is a good thing. It cements loyalty. It makes them more likely to share the experience with their friend, and it makes them more likely to want to come back and buy again, because they like having that high. They want to have that high again, right? So, here's some examples of how I've seen this play out. A quarter beef share that's been sold out for months. Raise your hand, farmers, if this is you or you are that producer and it's been sold out. And then you email a wait lister and you say, hey, I got one left, you're in. And they are ecstatic. And they're just so excited, and they're dancing on the rooftops, and they feel like they're finally in the club, and they go tell everyone, right? They've been waiting and now they're finally in. That is an exuberant moment. So that all happened because you made them wait, because you were sold out. So that's okay. That's not a bad thing. Another example I thought of was, again, our egg share. And it's just so funny to watch when we do our renewal campaign for our CSA in our private Facebook group. In the first 30 minutes, people will go in there and say, yes, I'm in. I signed up. And the people who get eggs, they're like leaving these funny gifts, doing little chicken dances or whatever. And they're like, yes, I'm one of the lucky ones. I scored one of the eggs. And there's just this pride, like flat out pride, that they were smart enough to get up right at 8 a.m. and they squeezed in. And, in the first 10, 15 minutes, they locked in one of those precious shares. We also do a spring salad share, and that's become very popular. We only have like 50 of those, and we have a big customer base. And so again, people who get one of those, they often feel like it was a golden ticket, and they're celebrating and kind of showing it off that they got one once they purchased the product. I don't know, if you're a baker or you sell some kind of baked good like a cinnamon roll, for example, at your farmer's market, and they vanish in an hour, or maybe you're a bread baker and you have a certain bread that everyone loves, and there's like this line of people that are waiting half an hour before market even starts, before you even get there, because they want to get that particular bread. And, if a customer finally gets one, right, they've been waiting and waiting, or sometimes they show up too late and you're sold out, and then they finally learn the ropes. They finally learn, I have to show up 30 minutes. They do it the next week. They score one of your cinnamon rolls. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to take a photo of that and they're going to post it on Instagram. And now you've got marketing, free marketing. And they're going to talk about how they waited for half an hour. And now everybody who sees that is like, why? Is it that good? And you've got a bunch of people that are coming to check you out, making your scarcity even more of a thing. So those are all just some very real examples that I have seen play out around me among farmers that I know, and in some cases for myself. Another thing that happens when you're sold out is that it actually adds perceived value to your product. I want you to think about that for a minute. So limited availability will make the product feel more premium, even without changing the actual product. The message that a customer gets subtly is, this is special. It's not just sitting around waiting to be bought. Like, it flies off the shelf. This is really special. This is so good, it's hard to get your hands on. And now it is elevated in status, right? If you're a cheese producer and you have some kind of a cheese that you only sell in the holiday season, for example, and you just have a limited amount, you just do, and it goes fast, your holiday brie, and you have sold out. Now that is going to make a person think, wow, that brie must be absolutely like top quality, and they're going to be willing to spend a whole lot more money the next time around if that item just keeps selling out and selling out. And even if you name it something kind of fancy pants like holiday brie, now that sounds fancier and more exclusive. A vegetable grower, if you have seasonal items like heirloom tomatoes, I know that that's a big one for us. They naturally carry built-in prestige. And when they're not always available, or there's a small amount and they go fast, now that adds perceived value, so that when we have a high price tag on them, people don't even blink, right? They're like, oh, well, that's why they must be priced that high, is because they just fly off the shelf and people must love them. So those are some of the things that are going through the head of your customers when they see a sold out sign. There's a lot of psychology in sales happening. And I want you to consider a couple of things when you sell out. Number one, can you build a wait list from that circumstance? I think sold out is an incredible lead generation opportunity. So instead of just saying, I'm sorry, it's gone, give them a way in that moment to sign up for exclusive first dibs, or the ability to buy it before anyone else knows about it by getting onto your email list. If you have an online store, you could replace the add to cart button text with join the wait list. If you haven't tried doing that, that's definitely something to do. I always do that with my CSA. Once the CSA shares sell out, I don't just leave it at sold out. The button text changes to join the wait list, and then they have to subscribe to my email list. If you sell at the farmer's market, you could set out a clipboard with, want first notice when these are back, leave your email. If you have a CSA, you could have a sign up link for next year's wait list when a share type sells out early, whenever that happens. The next thing I want you to be aware of is that when you have a product that is very popular and it sells out quickly, your customer is going to want to hoard it. They're going to want to stock up when it does come in stock. That's just natural behavior. When a product is scarce, people hoard. I remember this happened when we were in Kentucky and we found this awesome soda called Ale 8, but it was the blackberry flavor of Ale 8 because we were there when blackberries were in season. And before we left, we hoarded several cases because we knew that we wouldn't be able to come back and find that in a few months. we would only be able to find the basic regular flavor. And so we actually participated in that hoarding behavior. One of the things to be aware of is that when this happens to your customer and they experience the desire to collect or stock up on this one product and put it in their freezer or put it in their pantry, what that does for you is it increases the average order value. A person isn't just going to buy one pack of bacon because they're not confident that it's going to be there next week. Instead, they might get 4 or 5, and they spend 4 or 5 times as much as they did before. And that means more revenue in your pocket. When people are not sure if something is going to be back in stock, they're going to get a lot. Remember that. Remember that and leverage that. This is not a bad thing because you're basically training a new behavior. You're now training them to buy a lot of an item all at once. And then that can become a customer habit for the future. All right, before I let you go, I want to just share a few ways that you can communicate that you are sold out beyond just some of the basic things you might do in your online store. Because not everyone who listens to this podcast is selling online. And so I just want to give you some other suggestions. So first of all, the power of empty baskets, empty trays with sold out signs at the farmer's market. Now, I know we live by the adage of pile them high, watch them fly. Okay, that is a very real thing. But don't be afraid to have a few places that are just open, where it's almost like you can see the leftover from the storm of people that came and grabbed everything from that spot. If people know that this is always where the carrots sit, and they can see a few carrot tops kind of sitting in the basket, and you've got a little sign there that says we're sold out. We sold out at 10 a.m. That's not a bad thing. And again, you're training that customer to come earlier or to go and pre-order. Social media, social posts that show the empty table with a caption about the sellout time. So use social media and actually document the blank space, the actual basket that is currently empty. Weekly emails that can highlight what's sold out the fastest. If you have a menu board at your farmer's market or at your roadside stand, your menu board with popular items crossed out as the day goes on. Don't just, erase it so no one can even see what was there. Put a big line through it. And you could even write sold out 9 a.m. Kind of like you're just with pride, right? Like, I sold this out. Make sure you're here earlier next time. Instagram stories, Instagram reels, showing the moment the last one sold, almost like you're celebrating the customer who was the lucky one to get it. Maybe you even give a prize to the person who gets the very last thing. Something to think about, and you document that. Countdown signs, only 3 left, only 2 left. This causes people to take action. Because it communicates, hey, selling out is imminent. Don't miss out. You could try doing a before and after post where you take a picture of the item that you think is going to sell out and then a picture of it again when it actually does sell out, and then put those side by side. You could do a customer brag repost. So if a customer shares something on social media about how they snagged one of the products, or they take a picture of themselves eating it, you can then reshare that and kind of talk about how they were one of the lucky ones. Okay, so those are just some quick ideas. Finally, before I wrap up, I just want to make sure I mention that when you sell out, it's communicating movement, energy, right? There was a bunch of stuff that quickly moved through your brand into the customer's hands. And anytime you can show that there's movement and energy within your business, that is a great thing. And I will sometimes create offers because I want to fabricate this energy. I want people to feel it and notice it and see it so that my brand looks like it's crazy and there's a lot of activity. Again, I just want to go back to the example of the egg share. When I sell that for the CSA, the whole reason I offer the egg share at all, I really don't make a ton of profit off of the egg share, but its purpose in my product suite is to help create this momentum and this movement and this energy in the pre-sale of my CSA. I'm not sure that I would be able to get my customers to rush to the store to pre-order their renewal for their CSA share unless I had this product that they want so badly and that everyone's desperate to get and we're all fighting over it. That's actually the driver that gets people to move. So think about some of your popular products that you currently have in your product suite. Maybe you purposely only bring a slightly smaller amount of them to the farmer's market next week because you want to create that momentum and that energy that comes with the sold out experience. Because you want to make some of those customers feel the burn and finally start going to your online store to pre-order, and you want to train that behavior, or because you want some of those customers to feel the burn so that they'll get onto your email list. And then you can always, change your mind or change your policy. Eventually you can just start bringing the full amount every week and not always have it sell out. But we can generate this feeling intentionally as an offer, as a way of doing an offer for our customers. Just want to remind you of that. This is something I intentionally do with my egg share. I could sell all 120 of them right out of the gate in October as part of my pre-sale, but I purposely only do 100 because I want to create that scarcity. I want to make all the people that are gonna pre-order come and pre-order on the first day. And then in April or May, if I feel like it, I will release another 15 egg shares and people can dribble in at the end and get them if they want. But the egg share has done what it's needed to do for my launch, and it's caused people to come and buy. It's created the energy. It's created the momentum. It's created the feeling of, yay, I got it. I'm, that anticipation and the excitement and the pride of being a part of this community of people. All right. So here is my call to action as we wrap up. I want you to experiment with this in the next month. I want you to always have something sold out. And I want you to keep it visible, talk about it, use it as a signal of popularity, give people a way to get on your first notice list. You'll be surprised at how sold out can actually become one of the most persuasive pieces of marketing that you own. It's all in how you're positioning your product. So if you have an online store, keep 1 to 2 sold out products visible. If you are in person doing sales, leave a display up visibly empty with a sign. Add a join the waitlist option, either in-store clipboards or QR codes or online forms. Track whether more customers mention it or pre-order next time. See if it's working. I just want to encourage you to test this theory out. Don't be afraid to be sold out. In fact, you can even manufacture this experience as a marketing strategy. Well, that's all I got today. Thank you so much for joining me. Today's show notes can be found at mydigitalfarmer.com/327. If you liked today's episode, please go leave me a rating or a review. It really does help more people find out about the show organically. Or tell someone you know that you think would like this episode about the show. If you want to get onto my email list, I have some free stuff to send your way to make your marketing better for your farm. You can go to mydigitalfarmer.com/subscribe. I'm also on Instagram at mydigitalfarmer. I show up there periodically with a marketing tip or mindset coaching moment to help keep you on track in your business. And I would love to connect with you there. And if you are interested in getting onto the show, if you think you have a story to tell, a marketing gem, or you just want your sales funnel audited, reach out to me at mydigitalfarmers@gmail.com and we'll see if it's a match. You might be able to come onto the show. Thank you so much for joining me today, everyone. Have an amazing week. And remember, I believe in you. Bye-bye.